Guys, you ready? You're going to learn. If you're focusing, you're going to learn. If you're distracting each other in the comment section, you're going to learn nothing, and you're wasting your time. So here you go. Here's the argument. But we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to Jews and folly to Gentiles. But to those who are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ is the power of God and the wisdom of God. Okay. God's wisdom is Jesus, right? Everyone listening? This is a Jehovah's Witness argument. This is a Jehovah's Witness argument. Jehovah's Witnesses use the argument. Jesus is the wisdom of God. And XJW Laura, she'll tell you. This is a Jehovah's Witness argument. I need you guys to listen to learn. All right? Now, if Jesus was the wisdom of God, that means he's created by God. Why? Because in Sirach, we're told the wisdom of God is created. This is where they try to deceive you. Now, they'll use Proverbs 8 as well. All right? Wisdom was created before all things, and prudent understanding from eternity, right? You got it now, Snailsy?
Yeah.
Okay, so wisdom is created, right?
Yeah.
Right there in front of you. I mean, I don't know. You got to answer, so I know you're following me.
Yeah, I see.
So if Jesus is God's wisdom, and wisdom is created, what does that mean? That Jesus is what?
It's not God.
Because he's what?
He's created. He's a Christian.
All right, now here's where they deceive you. The Bible speaks of creation in one of two ways. Now, I need you to listen, everyone. This is part of your Christian heritage, and this is where people don't understand biblical language. When the Bible says wisdom is created, it's not saying created ex nihilo from nothing. This is where people don't understand how the Bible uses terms. You can be created out of nothing, like creation, or created from creation, like I came out of my mother and father, who came out of their parents, who came from Adam and Eve, who came from the earth that was created. Or you can be created in the sense of not created out of nothing, but being born out of something, coming out of something like, do you have children? Okay. How old are you?
19.
Okay, 19-year-old. When your mother gave birth to you, what year and date? You're going to see where I'm going with this. So you're born August 9, 2005, right? Did you exist before you were born August 5, 2009?
No, I guess not.
You sure? So you weren't in your mother's womb for 9 months?
Yeah, I guess, but before that, no.
Were you in your mother's womb 9 months before you were born August 9, 2005?
Yes.
So why did you say you did not exist before you were born on August 9, 2005?
I don't think you're referring to in the womb.
Well, when you're born out of something. To be born out of something means you must have existed in that thing, right?
Yes.
So, yes, Sirach is canon, Shlomo. We're not Protestants like you. So, did you exist before you were born August 9, 2005?
Yeah.
So you were born August 5th, 2009, but you didn't come into existence August 5th, 2009 because you already existed in your mother's womb, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with wisdom. Wisdom was already in God, within God, from before creation, within God, because here it says, wisdom was created before all things, prudent understanding from eternity. That means wisdom was there before creation, in eternity, in God, and was brought forth, born out of God. Here, let me prove it to you. Now, if you guys are listening, here it goes. Sirach 24, verses 1 and 3. Wisdom will praise herself and will glory in the midst of her people. In the assembly of the Most High, she will open her mouth. Now, notice where wisdom is. She's in heaven with God in the heavenly council, glorifying herself in front of the heavenly host. And in the presence of his host, she will glory. I came forth from the mouth of the Most High and covered the earth like a mist. So where did wisdom come out of?
From the mouth of the Most High.
That means
So God.
if the wisdom came out of the mouth of the Most High, that means wisdom existed within God, with God, inseparable from God, right?
Yeah.
So was wisdom created out of nothing? Or did wisdom already exist in God and came forth, born out of God, because it came from his mouth.
Wisdom was in God forever.
So wisdom is uncreated, right?
Yeah.
So what does it mean that wisdom was created? Meaning, was it produced from nothing? It came into being from nothing? Or that wisdom that is within God, inseparable from God, there before creation in eternity, came forth out of God, being born out of God. See the difference now?
Yeah, I see.
That's why it says, I dwelt in high places, and my throne was in a pillar of cloud. Who's the only one who sits enthroned in a pillar of cloud? God, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means if she sits on the throne in the pillar of cloud, then she's divine, not a creature, because the only one who was in the pillar of cloud at the time of Moses is Yahweh God, and he sits enthroned. But wisdom says, I was in the pillar of cloud on the throne. That means she's not a creature. She's fully divine, eternal, and came out of God's mouth. That's why when it says, from eternity, in the beginning he created, meaning before creation, in eternity, I was created. What does it mean, created? Meaning I was there in God and born out of God, not created from nothing. I came out of his mouth. And for eternity I shall not cease to exist. So this actually points to the eternal begetting, the eternal generation of the Son, that he's not created, but he's begotten, not created. Everyone got it? You got it too? I hope that answered your question. I don't know what else I can tell you.
Yeah, that answered my question pretty well. I didn't really think of it like that.
Okay, but now let me give you now how to annihilate this argument. Because here it says Jesus is what? 1 Corinthians 1:24. He's the power of God, right?
Yes.
Okay, now watch. Because they're saying Jesus is the wisdom of God, and God's wisdom is created, therefore Jesus is a creature. No, that's not what it says. Wisdom is not a creature created out of nothing. Wisdom is the uncreated, eternal characteristic of God that was within God, a part of God from eternity, and then God birthed it out of himself, brought it forth out of himself through his mouth. Well, if it came out of his mouth, that's why wisdom is equated with his word, because what comes out of God's mouth will be his word. So wisdom comes out of God's mouth, and therefore wisdom is the word that comes out of God's mouth. And it's uncreated. Everyone catching this? Next point? Before I go to the next point, I'm going to show you how to turn it around against them. If you understood my argument, you obliterated Jehovah's Witnesses and Arians and Arius. This actually proves the eternal begetting of the Son. The Son is uncreated, begotten, not created. Begotten before creation. Thus, like Justin Martyr said, Tertullian said, Irenaeus said. Now let's turn it against them. All right. Now look how this proves too much. Watch here. You ready? Okay. Now, not only is Jesus wisdom God, he's also what? What is he on the screen?
The power of God.
Okay. Now, Christ is the power of God. Now, we got a problem, Arians, because watch here. Romans 1:20. Ever since the creation of the world, his invisible nature, namely his eternal power and deity, has been clearly perceived in the things that have been made, so they are without excuse. Now, is God's power created or eternal?
It's eternal.
But if Jesus is the power of God, then how can he be created? If God's power is eternal,
He's not.
and Christ is God's power, what does that make him?
Not title.
All right. Not only that, but 2 Peter 1:3, his divine power has granted us to all things, because God's power is divine, it's unlimited. He is able to give us everything we need to live godly and holy. So now, if God's power is divine and eternal, and Jesus is the power of God, doesn't that mean that Jesus is divine and eternal?
Yeah, it means that.
Okay, so game over, brother. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, that answered that beautifully.
All right. Did you guys understand my answer? This is actually the objection I raised against Greg Stafford in his debate. And to be all honest, he did not answer it. He did not answer it. All right. So you caught it, right? How it turns against them. This is where you have to learn biblical language. The Bible used the word create in two senses. It'll use create to mean created out of nothing, ex nihilo, or being born out of something. Let me repeat again the analogy. I was born September 14, 1972. Now, if someone says to me, did you exist before you were born, September 14, 1972? Yes, I existed in my mother's womb for 9 months. This is why we consider abortion murder. The unborn child is a human life from conception. He is a living human being in his mother's womb before he's born. That's why abortion is murder. He's not only human when he comes out of his mother's womb, he or she is human in their mother's womb. So just like I was born September 14, 1972, but I already existed in my mother's womb before I was born. So being born doesn't mean you didn't exist before your birth. Nobody believes that. Right, Lepanto? I existed in my mother's womb before I was born. Likewise, the Bible in poetic language describes the wisdom of God as residing within God, in the bosom of God, in the heart of God, in the mind of God. And then right when God wanted to create, he birthed, he begat, he brought forth wisdom out of himself, out of his holy mouth, because that wisdom is the word that he uses to create. So wisdom was there in eternity, uncreated, inseparable from God, springing forth from God without separating from him.